to start by saying it's not an easy story that uh, comes easy for me because it's still painful. And I'm relaying the story because while it might be problematic for me, it highlights what really is the magic and the soft power of what Rotary is and does. And so for that reason, I'm willing to share it. If you like, I'll go on with my narration. My wife and I retired, and it was time to find a new place to live, and we wanted sunshine, so we moved to the Vegas Valley. Specifically, we moved to Henderson, Nevada, and we did not know anybody, and neither one of us had any experience there at all. We had lots of corporate moves, but this one was on our own, and we had to find our way around, and I thought the best way to do it would be to join a service club. First one that came to mind for no reason was Rotary. Henderson had a small Rotary Club, and I decided to go for very selfish reasons. I wanted the Rotarians to tell me about my new community, and I would have liked to have made some new friends. That's it. I had no other agenda. So I started going, started liking the people. I was a perfect table Rotarian, sitting there eating my lunch, doing nothing. I did ring a bell, and we went and painted or refurbished a library in Mexico, and that was fun, but that's about all it was. So that went on for a few months, and then my world started to implode because Karen started getting sick, and she got sicker and sicker. And there came a point where there was no way I was going to do anything with Rotary whatsoever, just no time. I explained to them that I couldn't continue, and they were nice. They were very nice. They understood, and it took some time. It was a horrible death. And the last few days, it was just shocking because it became apparent that she needed a special kind of hospice treatment. And in her case, it was inpatient hospital where you go to a facility because they couldn't get the pain under control. And there wasn't any. Vegas has, in the previous 16 years, their population had tripled, and they had not built a hospice bed in all of that period of time. And it didn't matter how much money you had or how serious the situation was. They didn't have a bed. If you wanted to do this, you had to go out of state or be lucky and have somebody die so you could take their bed. That's the situation it was. Anyway, when it was over, I didn't have very many friends in Henderson. I didn't know very many people. I didn't know the community. The house was empty. Kids were living in different places. And I had nothing to do, so I went back to the Rotary Club. May as well eat lunch with those guys. And I'm sure I was a little crazy, and I know I was doing a lot of bitching because I was angry about that. The fact is at the very end we did get her into a bed, but so I guess there's that. But I was saying, what kind of community is this? We can't accommodate the population that we've got with this kind of treatment. They listened, they were sympathetic, and next week or so, they invited me specially to the Rotary Club, and they arranged an interview with me and the district governor, Rotary district governor. I didn't even know they had Rotary district governors. But nonetheless, I went in and I explained to her what happened, and she listened, and she asked me if I'd be willing to give my story elsewhere. And all of a sudden, through Rotary, don't know who, don't know how, I spoke to every Rotary Club in the Vegas Valley. And then again, somehow Rotarians got me speaking before the Henderson City Council, Las Vegas City Council, the county commissioners, various chambers of commerce. They even had me go up to Carson City to speak to the entire Ways and Means Committee to explain what the problem was, which I did. That was pretty intimidating. And then they had me meet with the entire Nevada federal delegation, the congressmen and the senators. So I did all of that, and I explained the problem and explained that what happened to me could have happened to anybody. And so a committee was formed. That little Rotary Club, I recall them giving me $300. There was a little Rotary Club. And that was about the extent of their financial contributions. And without belaboring it, I'm still not sure how it all happened, except for Rotary was involved every step of the way. Some Rotarians were talking to other Rotarians, making sure the proper connections were made. If you happen to be driving from Boulder Dam to Las Vegas, you can't get lost, there's only one road. You'll be going into Henderson. Take a look to your left. You'll see a road, it's called Compassionate Way, and there you'll find a $12 million hospice adult daycare center. And what you won't find is any mention of Rotary. They didn't care. They weren't looking for gratitude. They weren't looking for recognition. As an incoming district governor, I don't know that I would agree with that now, but I was so grateful to what that Rotary Club did, and the fact that one good thing came out of that horrible experience. I cannot thank Rotary enough. That's my story. I want to thank everyone for listening to that. That's my introduction to Rotary in many ways, and I still don't like showing that, but it makes a point that I want to make, and that is it really highlights the magic and the soft power of what Rotary is and what Rotary can do. That little Rotary Club, Henderson, which I like, stronger than that, which I love, did an amazing project, an amazing thing, bringing in resources, government, architects, builders, land developers, all kinds of other Rotary clubs. It was an idea that just took off, and something really special came out of it. And they didn't care about getting recognition. They didn't want to beat their chests over it. They were business people, they were community leaders, and just like you on this Zoom today, as leaders and as business people, we're used to solving problems. We're used to looking at problems, deciding to get involved or not, gathering the resources to make something happen, fixing the problem, and then moving on. And that's what Rotarians do. It's because we're business leaders and just leaders in general. And while I don't want to be negative about the Henderson Rotary Club, I think in retrospect, they made a mistake, and a rather important mistake. They didn't want to brag. They don't want, like you guys, you don't want to be or to be seen as braggarts. But this was a business decision that they didn't take. They did not make the right business decision. They could have had an amazing PR opportunity to bring the understanding of the community of how important a role Rotary can play when it decides to do things. And it also could have been used as a recruiting tool to bolster the membership of Rotary all around the valley. And they didn't do that. And I don't blame them. I understand why they didn't. But But it was a bad business decision. And as I've been going around the district, I've been saying that and talking about Henderson and that really great and powerful little club and saying, look what you can do, but look what they left on the table. And this is a practice that we've got in the district, maybe throughout Rotary, but certainly in the district, as I talk to people about what our history is, what our legacy is. I often ask the question, with the exception of Illyria, and that's because of Jim Hunt, you ask the question, do you guys, just today, does everybody know that we founded the Easter Seal Society in this district? And the answer was crickets. Nobody knows that. And then you ask, shockingly, you guys know what kind of role we have played in the eradication of polio? A little bit more awareness. And then you say, you know that we put the first $100,000 together to begin the fight against polio about 50 years ago. And then we go on and, we talk about, are you aware of all of the good works with Mesa and that we founded that organization and we are copied throughout North America in one form or another, that we set something just out of this district. We set something on fire that has taken off and has saved thousands of lives. And our own members, of course, there are exceptions, but our own members frequently don't know that that's what we've done. So it raises the question, if our own members have forgotten or never knew, whose fault is that? And how can we expect our partners, because we always need partners, whether we're doing a food pack or building a hospice or building a amphitheater in, I think it's Fremont, Ohio, an $800,000 amphitheater that just went up, cut their ribbon about 2 months ago. If we don't have some mechanism to remember our history and our legacy, how in the world can we expect the community at large to know what Rotary is? And how can we expect partners that we need frequently, how can we expect them to know why they want to partner with us if they don't know what our background is? Everyone on this Zoom meeting has been in some circumstances where they've been asked, what is Rotary? It's because people really don't know. And so I have developed, and I think you guys mostly have seen this. Can you see what I'm showing you? I can only see Jim Hunt's picture. Jim, can you see this? Okay, I'm calling this a legacy document. The members are calling it a brag rag, because maybe that's what, I can't control what people call it, but it works for me. This one is developed, it comes from the Oberlin Rotary Club, but we're starting to see them everywhere. We've got a really nice one coming out of Vermilion. It's already in place. Every place I've been where they've advanced on it, they seem to like the idea because it tells their members who they are and what their values are. That's what this really is. It says, we care about polio, or we care about community services, or we care about Rotary Youth Exchange, or every club will have their own. Every club has got doing some things. This particular club is done work in Chihuahua on polio, Guatemala, service projects for plants, some sort of argument about libraries. That represents the values of the Pathways Club. And how are you going to report it? And I suggest that even if this is your background, what it is that you've done, this is I think you'll agree, a reasonable two-dimensional representation of who you are and what your values are. And it's not just for yourselves, although it is for yourselves. You should be able to take it back to your families and say, this is why we spent money and time. doing Rotary projects. This is important to our community. These icons represent who we are, what we do, and why we are an important component of the civil society. It also gives your partners or future partners an argument when they go to their boards and say, we should support Rotary doing this or Rotary doing that. It's because Rotary has got a solid record of success behind it. It's not bragging. It's a business decision. In some ways, it's marketing. I have other things that I'd like to pivot away from, but this is an important part of what I'm trying to do this year. Any questions before I move on?